Hi, guys. Okay, I'm live in a couple different places. I'm doing it different today. Happy Monday, by the way. I am on my laptop in a couple of places, and then I'm also on Instagram with my phone. So if you're joining me, thank you very much. I'm Dr. Mary Alexander, and I am in the business of providing hope in a hopeless healthcare system. So I want to do a little bit of a story time today as I want to give an example just from my own life of this concept that we aren't broken. So I want to start off by just defining and talking a little bit about what trauma is. We hear this word trauma everywhere. Everyone's got anxiety, everyone's traumatized, everyone has this thing. So what trauma really is the present, something that you're experiencing in the present moment. It's the present effects of being previously under resourced. So you didn't have resources in the past when the moment of trauma occurred. Something happened and you just couldn't fully integrate it. You couldn't really process what was going on in the moment. And in the present moment, it is affecting your nervous system. And you can tell that it's affecting your nervous system because you're having some sort of response. You can feel this in your body, or maybe it's the lack of feeling in your body. Maybe the nervous system response is something like a dissociation, or maybe it's a freeze reaction that you're having where you just can't move. Or maybe it's a feeling that you're going to be in trouble, or maybe it's manifesting in a need to go and distract in ways that aren't maybe serving you, maybe that you would never normally, under normal healthy circumstances, you wouldn't choose to go engage in Netflix or watch pornography or go and compulsively shop or whatever it is. But there's something in your nervous system that's dysregulated, and then that begins to drive your behaviors. It's like you're not in charge in your own mind. And that is because, our cognitive brain, the part that makes choices and is involved in decision making, can only take us so far. And so you might feel like I felt for many years that I, spent a lot of time in talk therapy, talking about experiences, talking about previous experiences. My bookshelf was full of book after book after book, seminar after seminar of things that I would read. But that's like, again, it's reading thoughts and thinking about things, and in the place of theories and in the realm of explanations, isn't really what's getting into the nervous system to create a change, right? We all do this where we're like, okay, I saw a book, I'm going to buy this book. It's supposed to be really good about dealing with anxiety. That is true, and that has its place, right? Making lists, making vision boards, having mantras, and all these things are awesome. All modalities have their place. But the way that a previous trauma is now affecting your present experience impacts your nervous system in a way that it perpetuates the belief inside of you that you are broken. And this is simply not true. It's Your nervous system is actually designed for survival. It's designed to protect you. So if you are experiencing something that you would not choose, we know that it's coming from that the wiring way beneath the surface that is there to survive, to help you survive, to help you to, just so that your organism can survive. And I want to give you just a little example of something that I'm going through right now in real time, that if I had a different frame of mind, if I was coming from a different paradigm, I might think that I was broken. So here is what's going on. I am encountering a conversation in my body with sleep paralysis. Now, I don't know if any of you have experienced this, but it is where you are falling asleep or near sleep and you're fully lucid in your mind. You're fully conscious in your mind. You're mentally there. However, it's like this moment in between going into sleep, like actual sleep brainwaves, that your body becomes paralyzed. You experience atonia. So you have no muscle control. And it can feel, as you might imagine, absolutely terrifying. So I'm laying there and my body is completely paralyzed. I have the sensation that I'm being crushed because it feels as though you can't breathe. Trying to will myself with my mind to move, but I can't. Okay. And so I have to sort of mentally talk myself out of it, use some strategies that I have to calm myself down, and I'll either completely wake up or I'll allow myself to drift into sleep. So, under a Western medicine pathology paradigm, this would be like my next move. If I went to a primary care doctor, they would probably refer me to like a sleep study. They would want to look at my brain waves. They would want to study something and find out what's wrong with me. There would be no thought really to what something else, something emotional, something um, psychological that might be going on. I even looked online, like what would the protocol be? And it's like they would probably try to start you on some drugs for narcolepsy. And I'm like, okay, I don't have narcolepsy, but okay. So people just don't, God bless the doctors, but they just don't know what they don't know, and it's okay. I, however, after thinking about this and putting it together, I know that this is happening in my body for a reason. I know, I live from the belief that if I'm going through something, if something's manifesting in my nervous system, by the way, your nervous system controls the muscles of your body. Your nervous system controls and orchestrates all of the cells of your body. So if it's showing up, it's starting in my nervous system. So what is this? This is like, okay, I can't move. I feel like I can't breathe. I feel like I'm lucid in my mind, but I don't have any control of my muscles. What have I had any similar experiences like this in the past? And then it occurred to me about a year ago, I was at a restaurant having a cocktail with a friend of mine, and I was roofied. So I collapsed in the restaurant, lost. I didn't lose consciousness. I lost control of my body. I collapsed for a moment, but I was laying there completely unable to move. Everyone hovered around me, wondering if I was dead. I remember them coming and taking my pulse to see if I was dead because my eyes were open. And I remember thinking to myself, this is the most humiliating and embarrassing thing. I have no muscle control. I feel like I'm suffocating, yet I'm completely lucid in my mind. And so you can see how in the moment, I didn't have the faculties to fully integrate, fully process what was happening to me. I just didn't have the capability. I didn't have the resources. I was under resourced in the moment. And so now my body is sort of providing me with this amazing opportunity, although not fun, of this reenactment that it's doing. And so ever since I put this together, it hasn't happened because I went back. I have this process that I do that if you're a client of mine, you understand, where we go in and we can reprogram, we can go into the nervous system, not the cognitive thinking mind, not the logical mind, like, hey, is this reaction appropriate? Well, appropriate, yeah. My reaction of sleep paralysis is absolutely appropriate. Right? My body is presenting me with the same, it's like a look-alike. Because in the moment of trauma, I was under resourced. I didn't have the faculties to process fully the emotions involved. And now it's a year later, I am ready. And so instead of looking at the sleep paralysis as a pathology, instead, I'm framing it as I am absolutely not broken. My body is the absolute opposite of broken. It's presenting me with an amazing opportunity. It's presenting me with a gift. And this is something that I could not have harmonized, something I couldn't have fully healed by just reading a book or talking about it. I had to use a process where you actually go in to the nervous system, to your autonomic nervous system, your sympathetic, your fight, freeze, flight, freeze response, where all of that is, and actually have a dialogue with the parts of myself that are showing up as sleep paralysis, this part that gets absolutely frozen. And I sort of had to rewire those parts in a very unique and somatic way and thank those parts for showing up rather than pathologizing them. They're already screaming really, really loud. That screaming really, really loud in the form of sleep paralysis is parts of me, a part of me saying, hey, you've been traumatized. There's something here that needs love. You have an open wound here. How else are parts of ourselves that are stuck in the past going to get our attention? They're not going to get our attention by, us feeling awesome. They're not going to get our attention by, having a joyful day, because we're not going to stop and pay attention to those things if we're just doing our thing. Suffering, right? Our perception of suffering is an invitation by past frozen parts of ourselves to come in and love it and experience wholeness. And so, what would it be like? Whatever it is that's going on in your life, the behaviors that you have, the reactions that you hate, that you just hate about yourself. I hear that every single day. I hear people who sit across from me on Zoom in a session and say, I hate my panic attacks. I hate my depression. They own it. It becomes part of their identity. It becomes a way that they can flog themselves moment to moment to moment and say, I hate this. I just want this part of me to go away. Mary, please make it go away. And over time, we reframe this and say, no, this part, and I understand panic attacks. I suffered for many, many years with this panic. I understand rage. I understand addiction. I understand people pleasing. I understand fawning. I did all of these things. And now I know these are not pathologies. These are the results of my nervous system getting dysregulated because things happened in the past where I just didn't have the resources. And you can go back. So, what if instead of raging at your kids or seeing your kids fight and instantly feeling that rageful part of you step forward, or that impatient or that frustrated part that then causes you to scream or flip out or say mean things or whatever it is? What if instead you learned how to go in and have compassion for that part? What if when you saw people behaving in ways that typically triggered you and drove you crazy, what if you could only hear, please? What if that's all you heard? Think of those people in your life that trigger the shit out of you. Think of those conversations. Think of the nature of the essence of what they say that makes you feel like your nervous system is on fire, where you want to shut down, you want to run away, you want to just look away, or you want to dissociate, or you want to throw their head through a plate glass window. Whatever the reaction is, it's all fine. But what if there's a way to process fully those old pains, those old wounds, those open wounds, those parts of yourself that are frozen in the past, that desperately need compassion and understanding and love? And what if instead, once you held those parts of you, those people no longer triggered you? Those emotions no longer triggered you, where you were like, oh, I just hear please. Because the more that you can hold those parts of yourself in love and compassion, the more that you can recognize those parts in others, that are saying please, because all those parts in us are just saying, please hear me. Please see me. Please recognize me. Please have empathy for me. Please understand how hard it was for me back there. Please understand how painful this was for me. And so instead of pushing things away, pathologizing them, medicating them away, just pushing them away, distracting ourselves with addiction and Netflix and shopping and gossip and alcohol and all the things, the key is being able to go inside and learn how to have compassion and love and radical self acceptance for all of these parts of ourselves. That is true healing. That is what my clients learn how to do. So if you are interested in learning more about that and getting some support, I do have a free Facebook group called Becoming You. And I'm going to post the link to that private group where we talk about all things nervous system, all things trauma, all things radical self-acceptance, radical self-love. And I would love to guide you on your journey as you learn to remember the truth about who you really are, who you were designed to be. So I think that's my spiel for today. I hope you all have an amazing Monday, an amazing week ahead, and we will talk soon. Love you all.